Dawson Rider Wiki.
Hey YouTube, Dawson Rider here with my review of Power Rangers Super Ninja Steel Episode 6. I think Attack of the Galactic Ninjas, I believe it's called. It's in the title more than in the episode. That's the first thing I wanted to talk about before we get to the details of the episode, is that this episode is meant to introduce the Galactic Ninjas as sort of this subset of villains that's supposedly meant to be stronger than like your average monster of the week, as we foreshadowed last week, which I actually gave them props for, but it's kind of cast aside as the B-plot. The biggest fanfare we get about them is Odious introducing them to the Galactic Warriors audience, and in turn introducing them to us, but the Rangers really don't make a big deal about it. Like, this should have been a bigger deal. Like, this is a problem I had with Dino Charge, Supercharged specifically, where there was something going on in the show, either that was already introduced or was being introduced, that should have been the focus. Like, this should be a major thing, but it's like the B-plot to Haley giving Preston a cheek job in the forest. Like, so the two ways these usually go that I've seen over the course of PR is like either it becomes the sort of serialized arc where it's like 2 to 3, 4 episodes where the main focus is these villains and there's really not a whole lot of slice of life stuff going on, or like they'll introduce this as like a main new conflict in an episode or two, and then it'll kind of blend the general conflict of whatever this new threat is with the slice of life bits. But this was like, I automatically put it as the B-plot for the lesson of the week, and there was some amusing-ish stuff in it. It's kind of interesting. I can't recall there ever being a cheating storyline in Power Rangers. There very well could have been that I'm forgetting. Like, I definitely remember various jealousy storylines over the years when, whether the characters were together or like just, you know, crushes, and there was like, I think just as recently as Dino Charge, I think there was at least one, I think maybe even 2 jealousy bits in Shelby and Tyler's relationship. So I recall jealousy stories, but not outright cheating ones, which is funny because they live in like Pleasantville before Toby showed up, where like if they kissed, the universe would explode because it would be like showing hardcore BDSM porn to them. Like, it's kind of ridiculous. Like, I'm not like a weirdo that's like, give me that kiss action. It's just more like, it comes off as awkward. Like the way nobody in the Marvel Netflix shows will say any of the names from the movies when they mention them. Like, they're gonna get sued by themselves. And it's obviously Saban's rules, because Nick has had shows that show, you know, just quick peck on the cheek kisses, and have had entire like promo events around these two characters might get together, and so it's like a weird 1950s rule Saban's playing by, and it's not even like they have to go anything extreme about it. Like with the Preston and Haley thing, it could have been a quick, you know, kiss on the lips, but just a quick peck, you know, for the, and instead of the cheek kiss, because that's hardly like, oh, she's cheating. I mean, that's how lots of people greet their grandmothers or like old friends, you know, or I don't know, it's just weird. Like, and the lesson was basically, you know, don't jump to conclusions, which, what's his name, Mick taught in a really weird way. Instead of just telling Calvin, hey, don't jump to conclusions, he's like, oh, let me drop this hammer on my foot and be like, I'm never gonna be able to work again. And he's like, don't jump to conclusions, man. He's like, golly gee, isn't that the lesson you should have learned? I thought that was kind of stupid. Like, I don't think that really added anything where he could have just outright told him not to jump to conclusions. There's not a whole lot else to say. There was some kind of amusing bits, some decent-ish acting for some of the amusing bits, but mostly it was just average. Like, I saw a reaction on Twitter about like how the show, these episodes are kind of just in purgatory, you know? I wouldn't say that this is the worst I've ever seen, but it's also not anywhere even close to good. It's just kind of there. And like, this episode gives potential spotlight to like 3 Rangers, and we never learn anything about them. Like, don't jump to conclusions is just advice anybody can get ever. It's not something, I want to learn some new stuff about the characters, and or maybe develop them. I would take either or, and you have time to do this, and there's like a way to write episodes where you can teach your stupid lesson, but also add something to the show, because right now these aren't adding anything to anybody. Like, the characters haven't moved really, and we haven't learned very much about them at all, and that's kind of frustrating. I do have to randomly call out, because I really noticed it, part of the plot, other than the cheating thing with this Galactic Warriors dude, or Galactic Monsters, that's Ben 10, whatever, I forgot, Galactic Ninjas, was that he stole people's memories. And 2 things with that. When Brody's memory was stolen and he became spooked by the monster, that was some bad acting. that was some real bad acting, which is saying something from the show. But like, he like saw the monster, he was like, huh! Like, it wasn't even that. It was worse than that. It was like, ah! Like, I can't even do it. Like, that was bad, but I can't even reach the level of bad it was. It was pretty bad. And also, I like how there wasn't a huge storyline, but it was like after their memories were out, it was just Calvin and Ada or Levi that were fine. I did like the kind of line where he's like, someone's stolen my memories already, I don't want to get it stolen again. It kind of reminded me of what Hawkeye didn't like the mind control in Avengers 2 after having Avengers 1. So that was just kind of a nice line. But anyway, my point of this is that he's like, we can't teach these people to be ninjas. I mean, it kind of goes back to what I said last week about how Brody was the only one that was really a ninja. Because the other four, when they first became Rangers, they weren't even close to being ninjas and they fought fine. So basically they're reset to factory settings. So I don't know what was so different about them from the beginning of the series to now that they couldn't go out there and fight. Yeah, that was just kind of a small thing, but I just kind of noticed that. But yeah, it was overall just average as they come. Some good, not good. Some decent parts, some bad parts, but I just want them to do something with it. And we're pretty close to hiatus, so I doubt we're going to get much. I just wish they would put these Galactic Warriors thing or Galactic Ninjas more in the spotlight as like an actual threat. I think it could create a cool mini arc, even if it's just a little bit. But overall, I would give this average episode a 6. Anyway, until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. It's Awesome Writer, signing out.